Hello and welcome back to YCFT. This week we are looking at a movie that needs no introduction, and if you've seen the title you already know what it is anyway. We're talking about Predator. Released in 1987, directed by John McTiernan. Quite famously also directed Die Hard.
Yes.
And a plethora of other action movies before getting in some trouble with the FBI for lying to them and going to jail for
10 years?
10 years?
Yeah.
That could be a video all in itself. But before then, he was known for directing really good action movies. And I don't know if you know this, but Arnold Schwarzenegger is in this movie.
No, he's not.
This isn't going to be our usual video because there's no point us going through the plot of Predator because we're not going to insult the audience's intelligence. Everyone knows the plot of Predator.
Yes.
So it's like the briefest of synopses. We have this special group of soldiers that go into the forest in search of a lost cabinet minister. I used to have an app on my phone when I was in uni which was just a soundboard of Arnie, and there's a lot of quotes just from this movie.
This is an insanely quotable
quotable movie. They track the cabinet minister to a shot down chopper with some American soldiers in it. They find a camp of rebels, shooty, explosions, and they start getting hunted down by an otherworldly hunter.
Yeah.
Where their guns and their muscles do not help them.
No.
It's great. It's an absolute classic. I actually saw this movie about 2 years ago, I want to say, in the cinema. I went to it's called The House of Schwarzenegger. It was just a day of Arnie films. So we watched Conan the Barbarian. That's how we started the day. Total Recall, then Commando, and then ended on a 4K restoration of Predator.
That's a
the
solid
day just got busier as well. And it's just a movie that's great to watch with people. Because
for sure.
Again, it's so quote. It's one of those movies you don't mind everyone like. It's like watching something like The Room. You want people to say the quotes along with you. It's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same with
true.
Predator.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Yeah. Stick around.
I'd say the first half of this movie is a stereotypical action movie, a typical Arnie movie. We've got a big ensemble cast of like characters with very strong personalities. All the actors are very well known.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, shooting, blowing stuff up. You know, follows all the tropes of that genre.
Macho movie.
So it's a typical action movie right up until it isn't.
Yes.
It becomes an ensemble cast right up until it isn't.
Yes.
And we end up with the second actors movie, which is just Arnie facing off against the Predator.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. But you said that was the original idea for the movie, was just to have the entire movie be Arnie fighting the Predator.
I read an interview with Arnie, and he said the script that was presented to him, it was basically just him squaring off against the Predator in the jungle, and it was Arnie that was like, well, that's not very realistic. I would have a team of men with me. And also, he had the foresight to know that that would also be more interesting for an audience to watch, you know, a squadron of men, different personalities who have their own bonds, get taken out one by one by this thing. So well done to Arnie. Calling that out.
For just being able to recognise.
Yeah. Well, he has a habit of that. Like going back to Terminator, because he was offered the role of Michael Biehn's character, right?
He was.
Initially.
He knows what he can do, but this role kind of goes against type for him. You have other movies where you on purpose shoot guns without recoil, like without flinching, just to show how strong he is and stuff like that. But this is a movie where the physical threat makes him look weak, and that goes very against type for him.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get to, I think, talking about the titular Predator and his evolution a bit later on. So we start with our cast of characters. Obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger plays
Dutch,
Major Dutch.
Major Dutch. And then just going through them, we have Dylan,
you son of a bitch. Played by Carl Weathers.
Yes.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
And also starring the most manliest of handshakes that's ever been known to mankind.
It's so filled with testosterone, and I think
it's insane.
I think that's something that I love about this. Not that it's filled with testosterone, but having that the manliest handshake in history. It's but then you've got the guys with the biggest guns, the biggest explosions, where they're setting traps. They're literally all shirtless, pulling down trees with ropes. But it means nothing against the Predator. So I know we were going to jump into characters, but I kind of want to add one little thing here. I saw around when Prey was released, a common criticism that a lot of people had was, well, how could one little itty-bitty girl take on a Predator when Arnie, I think there's often, at least in one corner or pocket of the internet, this misconception that Arnie being a big strongman is what beat the Predator, and it's not. It's always been about brains over brawn, and that's the same.
It's tactics.
That's the same in Prey. Arguably, I'd say it's the same in like Predators as well, because Adrian Brody's not a massive guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the point of having the first half of this movie being so testosterone filled, so macho, just for it to inevitably just mean absolutely fuck all in the final showdown.
Yeah, it's like against any other foe, this squad would walk out laughing of this scenario. They would be triumphant. But yeah, as it is, weapons mean absolutely nothing. Having weapons is what makes them a target initially for the Predator, because obviously, I mean, we'll get into this, but the Predator, very widely known, he kills to a certain code. He will only, for sport, he will only go after you if he thinks you are a worthy opponent. But ultimately, it's not guns that defeat him. It's kind of nature, and it is tactics as well. But yes, it is fascinating, and I know Prey did get a lot of stick for that, which is very, very annoying. But yeah.
So we've got Dutch and we've got Dylan. Now let's go through Dylan is.
Well, Dylan's like his old Vietnam buddy, right?
Yeah, he works for the CIA, and he's basically brought Dutch and his squad in because he's like, some damn fool told them you were the best.
You were the best. So is Dylan technically above him?
So why don't you use the regular army? What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
Different departments.
Different department, right, okay. He's got orders to go with Dutch on this... Mission, yeah, thank you. Which Dutch is not completely happy about. He likes to work just with him and his men. He doesn't like to be observed. But yeah, we got Dutch, we got Dylan, we have Mac, who is played by Bill Duke. We have Blaine, who's played by Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, former WWF, WWE wrestler. I can't remember what his real name is, because that was his stage name, Jesse Ventura. And he's a politician, I believe. I think
Jesse's dead. I'm pretty sure Jesse Ventura
I don't think Jesse Ventura is dead.
A few moments later.
I was correct. Jesse Ventura is still alive.
Not dead. I don't know who I'm thinking of instead.
But I believe he, like Arnie, he also became a governor.
We have Hawkins, played by Shane Black.
Went on to become a pretty famous director in his own right.
Yeah, so this movie is produced by Joel Silver, who we talk about a lot on this channel. We love Joel Silver. It's
almost like he was a very prolific producer back in the day.
Yeah, weird. Joel Silver, one of those producers, clearly had a knack for really, really good scripts. He'd worked with Arnie before on Commando, I believe. And he had worked with Shane Black as well. And I think he had invited Shane to come on board, initially in a writing capacity, to do a redraft of the script. Because this script had a lot of reworking, I think. But I don't know if Shane completed a draft and it just wasn't used, or if ultimately Shane didn't want to do it, or he just didn't end up doing the draft. But anyway, Joel still wanted him on board the project in some way, so he was invited to come on in an acting capacity. So he has the role of Hawkins, who is incidentally the first guy to be taken out of the squad. But yeah, him and Silver went on to have a very prolific working relationship together. Completing the squad, we have Billy, who is played by Sonny Landham. And I think actually that's it. Yeah, that's the squad. Poncho! Richard Chavez.
You got time to duck?
Sonny, he had a bit of an aggression problem, didn't he? I think he's someone who'd like to go out and get into trouble, so they had a bodyguard, this really tall dude that was there purely to make sure that Sonny behaved.
That was that guy's job of this production. Yeah, I've heard that. I also heard that Jesse Ventura was quite hard to control, as well as a very loud presence.
I think it's obviously these big guys that were constantly competing with each other. There's a famous interview where Jesse was dead happy to find out from the costume department that he had slightly bigger arms than Arnie by about 1 inch, but Arnie had pranked him. Basically told the costume department to tell him that they were a bit bigger, so that when they next went into the gym, he was like, oh, let's measure arms, and Arnie's were 3 inches bigger. And apparently that's just the sort of thing that went on all the time.
Yeah.
They would get up at like 5 in the morning to go for a run and work out before going to breakfast and then to set.
Yeah, I'd be dead. I would not survive that shoot.
Yeah, and then you got Carl Weathers, who on purpose wouldn't work out when everyone else was working out, because he wanted to appear like that his pump was entirely natural without trying. So they were constantly just trying to get into each other's heads, but it seemed like a nightmare to work on. because you're shooting in the forest and whatnot, but also really fun to work on.
Yeah, I think a lot of the actors have said, and the crew as well, that this was basically just like a real army boot camp in a lot of ways. Radical temperatures. You're obviously filming on location out there. I think a lot of this was filmed in Mexico, a couple of other places as well. And then just it feels like a very, very heavy, intense shoot.
We also have a very intense shooting scene.
Yes.
That I always love that one when there's a blast in all. It's after Jesse Ventura gets blasted. We are going to spoil this movie, but like it's part of the cultural zeitgeist in it. I think even if you haven't seen this movie, you know everything that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
Again, just showing how inadequate they are for this situation when there's blasting off all their guns into this one area.
Just nothing. Yeah.
And they're like, we hit nothing.
We hit nothing.
We hit nothing.
The Predator himself, which I believe... I'm going to check something, actually, because they do have a name.
Oh, like an actual species name.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never known that.
Predator is never actually said in the movie.
No, that word is never uttered once.
The alien species is actually known as the Yautja.
Oh, I had heard of that.
Yeah.
And I always forget about it.
I believe that was established in comics.
I don't like that name.
It never pops up enough for it to bother me.
No, exactly.
It doesn't sound as cool as something like
the
Xenomorph. You knew I was going to go for that one. Because they have a very interesting relationship going forward into cinema. But this ugly motherfucker here is... Sorry, your laugh caught me off guard there. Is not what the original Predator looked like.
No.
Oh, so you have to excuse. I only have a model from AVP.
Yes, please excuse.
To be fair, I am a big fan of it. It's the wrong movie.
I know. But
I feel like my invisible Predator needs some props.
Yeah.
I was very happy to find him. The original Predator was played by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
Now, before we get into who plays the Predator we all know, one thing we can tell you about is that the guy was 7'2". Now, we know that Jean-Claude Van Damme is not 7'2".
Van Damme's 5'9".
He was initially cast because he's extremely athletic.
Yeah.
And they wanted someone that could basically dance around these soldiers. The alien looked almost bug-like.
Very bug-like, like a praying mantis.
You can find pictures of him, but you'll never see the costume in the film. But he is technically still in it.
Yes,
because we had a red suit, which is for the chroma keying, which is how they did the invisible effect, and it looks weird. I'll put up some images. It does look really off-putting, but the problems they had was, you can do flips and whatnot. When they had him audition in practice, it was in a warehouse. Very different when you're going to do that in the jungle.
Totally.
In stilts as well.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the director was just not happy with the look of the Predator when it arrived.
No, it looks
I
shit.
think it would surprise a lot of people when they realise just how much of the film Jean-Claude is still in.
I know
it's the majority. I believe it's the majority of the invisible shots.
You can tell.
You can tell one of the... And when Carl Weathers, the famous shot when he has his arm blown off and it's the decapitated arm.
Iconic, yeah.
It's amazing. You can see a behind-the-scenes photo of the OG Predator suit stood in front of Carl Weathers with one arm. But they must have reshot a bit of that scene because we saw, after Duke is killed, a different red suit with the new mask. So they must have reshot a couple of things, but there's a fair amount of this movie that Jean-Claude Van Damme was in.
I honestly...
He's just invisible.
He's just invisible, but on this most recent rewatch, I could tell, because the shape of the head is just totally off. You can't see the dreads at all.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I never really noticed that. But it's such a drastic difference. But it's interesting as well, because you watch the making of it, and you hear the director, McTiernan, talking about... They were shooting a lot of the movie whilst, I think, the costume and stuff was still being made.
I think it's a very tight schedule.
Very tight schedule. So when the costume actually arrived, they opened the box and it was this grand reveal, and their hearts just sank because it was not what they were expecting. But I couldn't help but feel, well, yes, you can maybe blame, the guys that made the costume, but surely the people that made it should have
Yeah.
had more of a spec for what you actually wanted.
I suppose
then,
it,
McTiernan.
and I imagine it's
like,
timeline thing. Like, considering you said Arnie had to cut his honeymoon short.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I think this movie, I think it was in pre-production for a lot longer than the studio wanted. I think they just wanted to get it made because it went over budget. This one,
Yeah.
They had to get more funding, and obviously it would have made money later along the line. And I imagine, because I know the director did see the red suit, but I think for the most part, all the stuff for the red suit was shot separately by like the visual effects team. So they had to have a break in shooting when it was like this is not working. So I imagine that must mean, considering we've seen the OG suit with Van Damme in it in front of Carl Weathers, I wonder if that was supposed to be the Predator reveal.
Quite possibly.
So they mustn't have shot much with him in that then.
No. I also realised that Kevin Peter Hall, basically all of his...
Yeah, it's Ken Peter Hall who went on to play the Predator.
He must have only had his scenes with Arnie. He might not have even have met a lot of the other cast because he wouldn't have been there.
Quite possibly. Because there's a good chance it might not have even been him in the red suit.
Yeah.
But he does have a dual role in this.
Yeah, he does.
He plays a helicopter pilot towards the end.
He does.
So yeah, Arnie recommended that they get in touch with Stan Winston. See, legend.
Yes. Him and Arnie were friends.
Yeah, because they worked together on the Terminator.
Yeah.
So they get in touch with him, and while he's on a plane, I think he was going to Japan or something like that. He was with James Cameron.
Yes. Excellent plane companion.
He was just etching some designs, and James Cameron, James says, I want to see something with mandibles. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? And Barry's went, added them in, so we kind of have James Cameron to thank for the part of the iconic look of the Predator.
Jaw, that horrible.
I bet the only notes he really had was like an idea for the mask and wanted to be like a Rastafarian with the dreads, and he's kind of went from there.
I mean, look at it. We gotta just take. I know people have talked about this for millennia and will continue to do so, but this is so iconic.
Yeah.
As a monster creature, there is nothing like this. And I know, obviously, Predator spawned a lot of sequels. It's now spawned a prequel. It spawned a Versus franchise as well. For some reason, they've never been able to do the creature justice as well as they did in the first movie. Yeah. It always is slightly off.
The director has said having a break in filming, which apparently is something that Woody Allen likes to do a lot.
Apparently, yeah.
He said it was actually
beneficial
because he got to start editing the film over the few weeks that the suit was being made, and he got to see what wasn't working and go back and reshoot.
Yes.
And ultimately it was made for a much better film.
I wonder why a lot of movies don't follow that process.
They probably do, because dailies are much quicker to get.
Yeah, no, that's...
Like when filming digital, you could be showing the studio the very next day or even that evening some of the takes, and you could have a director who's just starting to put a couple of scenes together. Even with virtual production, you can temporarily, if you've done previs for visual effects shots, you can do a live key in the camera and then roughly see what it looks like with the background. So it probably less of a need of it today, because you can be doing a lot of that whilst the film's being made, rather than waiting for like film to be developed. Ken Peter Hall, 7'2". I think he had already done Harry and the Hendersons at this point.
It was filmed just before this.
Yeah, tragically passed away not long after he'd finished work on Predator 2.
Yeah,
he had 2 movies come out after that.
He was just shy of 36 years old. It really is a tragic story. Kevin Peter Hall
been in a car accident and had to have a blood transfusion, and he was transfused with HIV blood.
Yeah, he died. Ultimately, I think the cause of death was AIDS-related pneumonia.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was
what a tragedy.
Absolute tragedy. Because again, you look at interviews of him. The man is literally the definition of a gentle giant. He just seems like such a sweetheart. But also, when you're an actor and you are in a costume and you are in a mask and you have no dialogue sequences, that's a hard gig, because you still have to act, but you are just it's all in the physicality. And I think whenever I watch the movie, I genuinely am struck with how, not menacing, it's the wrong word, but like almost a weird grace of the movements that Kevin Peter does within the costume. And I also it was hard going as well. I mean, it was hard for the actors without without a mask on and without all the makeup and whatnot. It was hard for Arnie and all of the others, but with this guy, he could barely see in the mask. The costume was weighing him down. It was bulky. It was probably scorching hot as well. That must have been tough But yeah, it's effortless.
Yeah.
When you see him on
A
screen.
lot of the scenes, especially when he's jumping like from rock to rock, they've actually just got him on wires because the suit was that heavy, and that's what
Yeah.
helps give a lot of that graceful look. And he was given a lot of freedom to develop the characters.
Yeah.
Movement. You can see a lot behind the scenes of him like practicing with the blades, just like how he wanted the character to move. So he was given a lot of freedom with that, and I'm really glad they brought him back for Predator 2. I have a lot of love for Predator 2.
Almost why we started this channel.
It actually is. It was my initial idea was to do a video essay on why Predator 2 is a good movie. I'll get around to it one day.
One day.
And I have actually convinced a friend of ours to rewatch Predator 2, who watched it when they were younger and didn't like it, and liked it upon reevaluation.
Yeah. It's your goal in life.
This isn't like my battle to get people to watch and appreciate Prometheus. That's a losing battle. Yeah. But Predator 2, I genuinely think is a very good sequel, and that will get a video.
It will one day.
And he plays a dual role in that as well, because obviously he plays the Predator, but he also plays the elder Predator at the end.
Oh yeah, he does.
But the Predator in that movie is very different to the Predator in this movie. In look, movement, everything. And there's something about our future films have just not got the Predator right after he passed away.
Yeah.
Even to an extent. So a big one for me is the mandibles.
Yeah.
So, we'll do a little mandibles here. Initially, they were made to be closed, so that when they opened, the sides stretched.
Yeah.
It's not as bad in Predator 2. I think how they started doing the masks a lot after that was design them to be open and then close them. So you end up with really loose flaps.
Yeah.
There's often the joke that the Predator looks a bit like a vagina with teeth. It gets worse when it starts getting flappy. The worst one is in AVP, because they made the mandibles longer. They're like that, so when they close up, there's just loads of excess
skin.
It looks like a cheap cosplay.
They couldn't get it right, and I don't know why.
No, it's that simple thing. It's like you design it to be closed and stretch rather than open and close. A big problem with Predators in that one as well is they're too bulky. I think they're far too armoured. Their feet are massive, and they've got these weird claw things going over the top, so they kind of look like they're wearing slippers. They run like they run like this because
the bouncer Predators. Yeah, it's just.
I think it looks better in AVP 2.
Yeah,
but that's because that film is really dark, physically quite dark, so you can't really see that much. Predators still has a little bit of skin problem.
Yeah,
that was Derek Mears who played the classic Predator in that one.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah. I kind of like the design in that one.
Yeah, a lot of it is the movement.
A lot of it is,
I think.
Yeah, the Predator we just won't talk about. I think it's the scene when he's going through the lab and he's holding up a gun. The Predator's literally walking around like this.
Yeah, like
I think the closest we've gotten is probably Prey. I really like the movement of that Predator. The mask is a great mixture of practical with the visual effects on top of it to clean areas like that up. I actually watched a video where someone went in and using Photoshop cleaned up the flaps on all the previous masks, and they just look so much better.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my rant about
the mandibles.
It's a mixture of the movement and the mandibles.
Yeah, for sure.
For me.
Yeah. There is a weird kind of grace that he employs when Hall is in that costume that hasn't really been replicated. Yeah, I agree. I think, is it Diego Luna?
Yeah.
Maybe Diego someone anyway who was.
Diego Luna is he's an Andor.
Yeah, not Diego Luna. There was a Diego that was in Prey, and I think he did a pretty good job. Again, also a very, very tall man. But yeah, I think this film stands unique that we have the best Predator, arguably across the whole franchise.
I don't even think it's arguably. He is the best Predator.
Is.
He makes Arnie look small.
Yes.
There's no one else that can have Arnie held by his throat, because Arnie's a big guy, like height, width.
Well, I wonder why they cast Van Damme in the first place.
I think it was because they wanted something that could dance around these characters. So it's like they'd be shooting at him, but they physically can't hit him because of how he's moving. And I do like Van Damme. I've got a soft spot for a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
The same thing. This movie for our channel is kind of unique in the fact that it's an action movie for starters. It's a sci-fi movie with a lot of elements of horror.
Absolutely.
In there.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the slow introduction of the Predator, because we've said at the beginning, you watch this movie and for a good while it's just a solid action movie.
I think if they didn't have the opening shot with the ship going through space, I think if you took that out, a lot of people would have been more surprised when the Predator first turns up.
Yeah.
But it's that weird, like, okay, what's that?
What's that going? But even the first inference we have of this thing in the jungle watching our guys is when we see the infrared vision, and we clearly see like whatever this thing is up in the trees. It could feasibly still be a person.
Yeah.
I think the first time we realise something is off is when it starts mimicking the voices.
Yeah. And we see it picks up the scorpion. You see a clawed hand.
You see the long fingernails and everything.
Yeah.
It's anytime. It's eerie. And then there's that fantastic shot. I think, it's after Blaine is killed and they all just go apeshit and they start shooting into the jungle wildly. They do actually injure him. They do get him.
They clip him in the leg.
A little bit of blood's left on the leaves.
It's the flashing of eyes.
Yeah.
And that is enough for Duke just to go like, just
Mac.
lose it, Mac.
Bill Duke is
Bill
it?
Duke. Well, yeah. I got one name in it, right?
But there's that moment where he's up in the tree and he has to patch himself up. And again,
I really like that.
We're out of infrared at this moment and we can see his hand. It's clearly not a human hand. And then
You see the skulls.
Yeah. And then he fixes his leg and he howls in agony. And then there's just that really quick shot where the camera pulls back and we see him. But it's so quick and there's not enough time as the audience to be like, what was that? That didn't look human. That was not... But it had dreads. But it was also... Was it wearing a mask? But did you see the hand? It's so quick and it's
Was
so
the vibrant
well done.
green blood not a givevieway?
Yes, I know. But you're piecing it together in your mind and I can only imagine seeing this for the first time in 87. Like, whoa. I
think it probably helped the actors that when filming a lot of these scenes, they didn't know what they were looking for.
Yeah.
They didn't know what the Predator was going to look like.
Yeah, exactly. But I really love the slow reveal of him, ultimately. And it's a long while into the movie before we get a full shot.
The full reveal is when Anna's went to get to the chopper.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
Give me the weapon!
After Poncho has been finally taken out.
Yeah.
Billy has had his showdown. I always thought it was kind of sad you didn't get to see it.
It's still
but it's the
a
scream.
moment. It's still great, that standoff.
Yeah, so now it's Arnie versus the Predator. And he ends up going over the waterfall. We see the Predator jump down into the water.
The splash.
And that is it, the reveal. I always love watching how this scene plays out. You see Arnie exhausted. Like, they've been through a lot.
Yeah.
They just crawling out of the water, getting covered in the mud. It's the way he managed to make somehow sticking his face in mud seem natural. Obviously, we know why he has to do it.
Yeah.
To hide his heat signature. But it's the way Arnie managed to make himself look so exhausted from the whole experience that he's literally just fine with putting his face in mud and just lying there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really like that whole
It's fantastic.
sequence. I always feel like the squad brings in way more equipment than we see on them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like when they trap, they have so many traps and whatnot, so many rounds of ammunition. It's like they're only going in for a day, so they don't have packs like big bags.
Yeah.
I let it slide because their guns definitely fire way more bullets.
Yeah.
But that's just action tropes. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
that could also be an editing thing. They probably did reload. We do see them reload guns. They probably reloaded more. They've just been cut down in the edit.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, though. I love that scene towards... Well, it is kind of the end where he's setting his trap, Arnie. And he's working, like, pretty much all through the day and into the night as well to get this guy. And again, he's just using nature around him because I don't think Arnie's armed at this point. He doesn't have anything really on him.
So he's got his knife because his knife he uses his knife to cut, like, sticks and uses rope to make a bow, cuts open because his rifle had a grenade launcher underneath it. So, so he has his webbing. Yeah. So he's going to have grenades and stuff like that. So you managed to make a few things from that, but most of what he's doing is just with nature. Yeah. Nature and rope.
Exactly. That when he calls the Predator to him, you know, like,
I'm here, kill me! I'm here!
That bit earlier though when he screams,
he just screams
into the ether. To get him there, and then he's swinging from the trees, and Predator lands behind him, and Arnie can't move, but you just see his eyes.
He's just crawling down the tree.
You just see Arnie's eyes like move to the side because he knows.
He does so much. I don't know if Arnie ever gets enough credit as an actor, but he did a lot with his eyes just in that moment.
Yeah, it's literally it's just like a.
He's like, oh,
he's here. brilliant. It's so good. Oh,
Yeah.
that the final showdown is
Well, it
honestly
becomes a bit of a
just-
chess match at that point, because
Yeah.
Arnie's obviously done a lot of prep, and he does hurt the Predator. But the Predator is smart enough to eventually work out what's going on.
Yeah,
He's found a way to mask him, so he just starts blasting, hoping that Arnie's going to make a mistake.
yeah,
Inevitably, it's not that he makes a mistake, but the Predator just kind of gets lucky
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
enough to make Arnie panic.
yeah,
And just getting him into the water so his mud's off. That's it, you
Yeah.
can see him now.
yeah.
But you respect him enough to take his mask off and take him on in hand-to-hand combat.
He does. Yeah,
Which then became a thing that has to happen in every Predator movie.
yeah. The reveal.
Actually, if I remember correctly, in Prey, he doesn't take his helmet off. It gets hit off.
Oh, I can't quite remember.
But in all the others, it's always the...
Yeah,
You want to take a Predator out, just do it while he's taking his mask off.
yeah, yeah. He's preoccupied.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you?
But I love the hand-on combat when we're coming from like the Predator's vision to Arnie just getting the shit kicked out of him. You can tell the Predator learns
Yeah,
because like he tries slashing at him. He puts his blades away.
yeah.
He's slashing him with his claws. Arnie back punches him and he's like, ooh. And you can see he's just having fun with this new
Yeah, this new
technique that he's
technique.
learned
Yeah,
to start
exactly.
punching away. But you can tell, like, when he gets to the point where he's kind of done, because the blades come out. He's like, right, I've had my fun.
Yeah, business.
And that's when Arnie's like, yo, come here, kill me.
Come here, kill me, do it.
Do it. Do it. Come on. Come on. Kill me. I'm here. Kill me.
Predator's smart. He goes around the other side.
Yeah, uses the counterweight to crush him.
Yeah.
I always found his little bomb, the self-destruct bomb, such a cop-out.
Why?
I think this comes from my experience of watching AVP. You know, when they would come to Earth and take on the aliens, it's, but if the hunters ever lose,
Yeah.
everyone loses, and they just blow themselves up, and it's like, they'll never just die in dignity. They're going to die and try and take out whoever's killed them with them.
Yeah.
Like, there's very, like,
Uh,
it's a very, I find it a very unsportsmanlike way to
it kind of is, but
because even he tries to do it in Predator 2 as well.
yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. I love that whole sequence, though. Again, I think what makes it is the laugh. Mimicking Billy's iconic laugh, and there's something because you can even see the Predators, like his shoulders are going and everything.
Yeah.
Like he's genuinely really enjoying this moment.
He's enjoyed the
'Cause
challenge.
he wants to take Arnie with him for sure. But I think even regardless of that, whether he does succeed in killing Arnie or not, he's had a good run.
Yeah.
But that it's just really, really ominous. It's that billowing, echoing laughter into the jungle. It's genuinely is quite. It's an eerie thing.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic showdown, and yet I mean, so many iconic scenes in this movie. Do you have a favorite kill? For one thing, all of them go out in fairly different ways, different circumstances each time.
Iconic kill. My favourite kill, yeah.
Well, obviously, like there's Hawkins at the beginning, Shane Black. He's just kind of taken out by when he's chasing after
Yeah,
Anna.
it's probably Jesse Ventura's, to be honest. Like,
Blaine,
yeah.
I
I think it's because then we
Jesus
have like
Christ.
the massive shooting scene that follows.
Yeah.
Just so extremely
Yeah.
excessive.
Yeah.
What about yours?
I don't know. I mean, I just can quickly go through all of them. So yeah, there's Blaine who gets just an entire rib cage just explodes. Mac is shot in the head. And as you pointed out, there's a bit of a continuity error with that, which I liked.
Oh, because you see his head fully intact the next time, but I let it pass.
We let it pass. Billy... Oh, sorry, before that there's Dylan. Dylan tries to... He lets the others go off to the chopper, doesn't he? And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick behind. And fabulous special effects where that arm
Yeah.
gets cut off. And yeah, as you were saying, like the finger's
continues
still on
to
the
shoot.
trigger going. But you can see... Sort of see like the stump. And I just think it looks phenomenal. To this day, I don't think I've seen a better looking limb.
stump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gets
It's truly
bladed.
good. I do like that whole sequence. For me, Dylan is probably my favourite, even though we don't see like the actual kill itself. Leading up to it with the arm is just perfect. Billy's showdown is wonderful.
even though we
I
don't
love that.
see it.
We're kind of robbed of the actual kill. But again, it's just the fact that, Billy, like, does that army thing where he cuts himself like a warrior, I suppose. And yeah, just that final showdown. Poncho's death really kind of it takes me off guard.
It's because he's wounded by one of their traps kind of backfiring when the Predator gets out of it, so he's hit by a log, so he's kind of weakened, and the Predator literally just blasts him with his cannon.
It comes out of nowhere. It jolted the last time we watched it, because I always forget about that. But yeah, the log, like all the internal bleeding, like probably so many cracked ribs as well.
Arnie has also never returned to this franchise.
No
matter how many times people have tried. He has voiced the character in like video games and stuff like that. They did desperately try to get him back for Predator 2, but it didn't work out. But Anna is at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Apparently they got close to getting him for The Predator. He was meant to appear at the end, but he didn't like the script.
Oh.
So he was meant to come out of one of the various endings. Like, if we ever make it to talking about The Predator, that movie was just killed so many different ways. It's not Shane Black's fault, I think.
No.
He was supposed to come out of that pod at the end.
Yeah.
And he was just like,
No. No.
They did do a comic series that followed what happened to him afterwards. He also appeared in I think they also tried to get back for Predators. And his character does appear in the follow-up comic to that one, where after a few seasons, a Predator ship arrives and Arnie leaves it.
Okay.
He leaves the ship. And it's meant to be this whole thing of like the Predators honour those who do actually win.
Oh.
I think he says Adrian Brody's character in it, something like, "You did good, kid."
So
that's something that I've always wanted to see. It's like, what does happen to those that win?
Yeah.
But it's just something I think he's too... It's not like Terminator where he quite likes going back to it. Predator's something he's never wanted to.
It's a one and done deal. Maybe he knows it's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Why would I? Unless what you're offering me is equally perfect. There's no need to. I respect that as well. You don't just need to return to something just for the sake of it.
Yeah, and let's be fair, like, The Predator didn't deserve an Arnie cameo.
No.
If Predator 2 and Predators couldn't get it, I think they might have even tried to get him back for it. I think they've always tried to bring him back in some way.
Yeah.
And
no, I respect Arnie's choice.
I think
to be honest.
What didn't help was during the bulk of like the AVPs and everything, he was governor of California.
Yeah, the timings has just not worked. The first one is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I would say so.
What the hell are you?
Did you have a voice cameo in Predator 2?
Oh, I don't know. You're much more familiar with
It's been a little while since I've
I
watched
am.
that one, but I'll come back.
When we do that video.
When we inevitably do that one. But I've always just kind of respected the fact that he's not come back.
Yeah.
But it also means that none of the sequels have ever been able to truly live up to this one. And as much as I like Predators and Prey, both final showdowns are just weaker imitations of the showdown in this movie. At least in Predator 2, the showdown is very different. So we got the characters like running across rooftops, through apartments, down into a ship. It's a very, very different showdown. All the others, I will exclude the AVPs because they're different beasts. All the others are, even the Predator, takes place in a forest. They've just never really been able to do anything properly innovative with the ending of these movies since like Predator 2.
Since Predator 2. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I would say maybe Predator, it's hard to compare. But would you say, even with some of the more dud sequels that it's had, is it still a more successful franchise with sequels than, say, like Texas Chainsaw? I know there's different number of movies.
Can't really compare. Like,
Halloween's had some dud sequels, obviously.
Alien had some dud sequels.
Yeah.
They've all had dud sequels. I'd say for the most part, the Predators, even like the AVPs, they're not good movies.
No, but
they are entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. I think
I'd say the only one I generally do not like at all is The Predator.
Is The Predator.
The Predator, yeah.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, I will never rewatch that movie.
I mean, we're going to have to do a video on it at some
But
point.
I will rewatch AVP.
In 1 week, we watched all of them, didn't we?
Yeah,
at
we
one
did.
point,
I
like, a
can't
couple of
remember
years
why.
ago. I think we just wanted to.
We're in the zone. Let's go.
I think weren't we building up to Prey?
Oh, we probably were, actually, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe. That would
and
make
The
sense.
Predator was Annoyingly, it was the only one we had to rent because I own all the
Yeah,
other
we
ones.
paid money for that.
We paid money, and I saw that in the cinema.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew what I was letting myself in for. You
It's
didn't.
bad. It was awful.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
We'd like to shout out our groovy members. We appreciate everything you do for this channel and helping us grow. You guys are awesome.
Some other just shout outs to great scenes. Mac absolutely losing his shit when Blaine dies because him and Blaine are buddies, and he starts reciting the Long Tall Sally song.
I'm gonna have me some fun.
I'm gonna have me some fun.
I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun.
Very a lot of the actors had a lot of freedom just to give their characters all personality. For some reason, he decided he wanted just to be constantly shaving.
Yeah. And like when he gets a bit irate and he really presses it into the skin and he breaks it.
Yeah, they put a little blood tube.
Oh, was that how they did it?
Yeah, that's how they
cool.
did a little blood tube on it. So he's just squeezing it till the blood comes out, and
Yeah.
then it snaps.
Ooh, gnarly. Yeah,
Because
obviously
there's no blade on it.
there's no. Oh yeah, it makes sense. Unless like the actor was just really willing to like himself
Constantly
take
shave
after
himself.
take. Yeah, obviously the handshake at the beginning is iconic. Even the shootout with the gorilla camp.
Oh, it's great.
There's some amazing stunts in there.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Ain't got time to bleed.
Ain't got time to bleed.
You
You got time to duck.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
This movie has so many great hero shots
It does,
of
yeah.
characters. And when you look at like some of the weapons that they take in there, they're so not suited for the environment that they're in.
What gun does Blaine Jesse Ventura have?
That's a minigun. A Gatling gun.
That fucking massive
It's so
thing.
excessive.
Why do you need that? Why is that a thing?
He's a big man with a big gun.
Why has that even been invented? It's so ridiculously excessive. I mean, ultimately quite useful, but
Even Arnie, I might be wrong, I believe it's like an M16 with an underbarrel grenade launcher. It
Yeah.
looks like Sonny, whatever rifle he got, has a full underbarrel shotgun, like an extended barrel.
yeah.
Just vast array of weapons going on there.
Yeah.
It just seems like none of these are suited for the environment they're in. But I don't care, because they lead to some incredible
Oh yeah, totally,
sequences.
totally.
And they ultimately, I think the point is to give them the biggest guns so that they can become useless.
Well, in contrast to that, a scene I really like that doesn't involve any guns, no violence whatsoever. It's actually quite a quiet scene. Is where Anna, who has previously tried to escape and has now realised the danger that she's in, so is now kind of helping the boys out. Is when she's just sitting down, and it's like it's a profile shot, and she's talking about how for years people in her village and her town have been found skinned alive, and how they have a name for this thing that, you know, whenever it's hot, whenever the season is abnormally hot, this thing comes and it kills their townfolk. And she calls it the demon that makes Strophis of man, I think. And I really, really like that whole sequence, because again, it has implications for, right, this is not the first time Predator has come to Earth. Clearly this thing has been coming for a little while.
And it's also
making sport of man.
It's also interesting that it didn't take out the camp.
No, it didn't take out
I
the
think
camp.
it saw that the Americans came.
Were potentially a bigger threat.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I think maybe he's waiting for something a bit more fun.
Yeah.
To come his way, because that's fair. The gorillas are quite easily there
Totally.
probably wouldn't be that much sport for him.
No, probably not. He wants a challenge.
Yeah, and he got his challenge.
And he did, yeah. With Dutch.
Dutch. You son of a
Bitch.
It's incredibly quotable movie. Have you got any more notes on it?
I don't think I have any more notes. I really love this movie. It's a classic.
We rewatch this quite frequently.
I'm so happy we got to do it. I wanted to do this for a little while now on the channel. And R.I.P. Kevin Peter Hall, because there's never been a better Predator.
Yeah, he does a absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah.
If they'd stuck, no offense to Jean-Claude Van Damme, but if they'd stuck with that, it probably would have came across as more of a B movie.
I don't think we'd be talking about it today.
No, I think it would have went away.
I think it would have totally disappeared. Yeah.
Who knows if the film even would have, if it looked as bad as it did, would Arnie have even stuck around?
Yeah, stick around.
Stick around. Because this movie, I think the big pull and the amount of budget they managed to get is purely because he was there.
Yeah, and this movie didn't do that well when it first came out.
Critically did not as well.
No.
Shockingly. And then a few years later, it's like, oh, actually, this was
This
pretty
movie's
good.
not that bad, you know?
God, critics are so flimsy. Like, they
Oh,
were
I know.
literally...
I know.
Like-
Aren't they just?
They will literally change their mind depending on what the world tells them.
Absolutely. But it is a classic.
Over time, this did do quite well, especially on home video. It did really well.
Yeah.
And it continues to do well. Thanks a lot, guys. We hope you enjoy this one. Obviously, it's slightly different to how we usually do things, not really going through beat by beat, because everybody knows this movie.
Everyone knows Predator.
I just hope we could maybe give you a little bit of production knowledge on this one, just our opinions on the legacy of Predator itself.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming anyone watching this has seen Predator, so what's your favourite of the Predator sequels? And what's your favourite line from this movie?
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next week.